Okay, my friend, there is a new video here from Paragaming. I played Diablo 4 season and for some reason they use this again here, so let's watch it. And there's also some Heisenberg in here. Let's see.
Kinda mid if I'm being honest with you.
So I played Diablo 4 season 6 and it's
Kinda mid if I'm being honest with you. But on the other hand, here's a lovely mountain.
Wow.
It's Mont Blanc, which is French for mountain of joy, probably. Because the higher
Trust
you
me,
climb,
bro.
the more joyful you are. So the bottom here is equivalent of falling off and snapping your spine in half. Or rather, things I strongly dislike, such as Bobby Kotick, for example, or genocide. Going further up, we
no
have some of
longer
my
with them.
favorite games, such as V, Rising, and World of Warcraft before Blizz completely fucked it up.
There's a high mountain.
Slightly higher around the mid of the mountain, we find Diablo 4 Season
You had to take that image.
6. But it doesn't have to be here. It could be way higher, at the peak along with titties and making German guy memes. And that's why I'm making this video to roast the shit out of Season 6 and make
Not out of this guy.
it real good. And starting off, we're going to talk about the most dog shit of new systems in the game.
Every
because
time,
this is
man.
absolute trash and needs changing. And it's the itemization
The memes
changes.
are always there, boys.
So here's the backstory. Season 4, itemization, decent. Season
And it like
5,
fits the mountain vibe.
good. Season 6, shit. And why is that?
Oh, the itemization went from dog shit to good, back to dog.
Well, from previously being able to fully temper and masterwork our lovely legendaries we found, we're now only able to do it on ancestral items. Hey, but Mr. Paragaming, didn't Blizz just make it so that you always get ancestral items in World Tier 4? Oh, my sweet summer dad boomer hemorrhoid-infested gamer. They did indeed. And now they fucked it up and made ancestral items so goddamn rare that my credit card is throbbing with excitement.
Okay, he said a lot there. I agree that the difference between the 750 and the 800 item power is a bit much, but this is why we have a PTR, and they can easily address this, right? Like maybe you can, as item power 750 item, maybe you can masterwork it like to +8 or something. And, only at the ancestral to +12 rather than +4, right? So there's still a lot of adjustments. So I don't agree that the itemization is shit. I think it's still pretty decent, and there's certainly room for improvement, and we gave a lot of feedback on this.
On the flip side, though, ancestral items are always getting the greater affix treatment. But who cares? Because this is what's going to happen. Legendaries are now the new rare item. They're shit, and they are only here to clutter your screen. Imagine a dogshit newbie finally finding some ancestral items full of joy and then bricking it. Yeah, great fun. You will only use the regular legendaries as you're leveling up, and other than that, they're just salvaging material.
That's definitely true, man. Even for me, it took a long time. I think I spent about 4 hours farming for one greater affix, Ramalardi Magnum Opus. It took very long.
Is this fun? With a laugh track, sure, but we can't put that in every part of the game Blizz fucks up. This is so unbelievably stupid, it made my head hurt. So what's the solution then? Well, it's rather simple. Revert it. Just let us temper and masterwork all legendaries.
I don't think they need to revert it, but they do need to bring the drop rate of the ancestrals up, and they do need to change the power dynamic between this non-ancestral and ancestral gear. For example, by allowing the ancestral gear to be masterworked higher or to get a second temper.
The ancestral items are good in themselves, as they're both higher item level and has a confirmed greater affix on it. No need to make the gap even larger. Thank you. Next up, we have yet another brain fart. That being the Paragons and the stat squish that inevitably failed as a result of it. Are you not following? No problem, let me explain. In Season 6, we're getting a massive stat squish.
Bro.
No problem, let me explain. In Season 6, we're getting a massive
The stat
stat squish.
squish.
Meaning
It was
that
just a
all
bug,
numbers
guys.
Are reduced at least 10-fold. Health, armor, etc. But the damage has at the same time increased.
Wow.
There are several reasons for this. For example, it's insanely easy to get main stat, and the main stat you're gaining for some reason grants double the damage now. Perhaps a bug, which is fine as it's fixable, but what is not fine are the paragons.
Well, the main stat gave you 4% damage now, and that was like quite a lot for sure.
For reference, here's a screenshot of a buddy making a druid planner. 8,000
8,000, man. It's almost the Vegeta meme. It's over 9.
willpower. Yeah, makes sense.
He's getting there.
And what has changed here?
This is Diablo 3
For
numbers.
starters, you're now able to get roughly 100 more Paragon points, depending on how much you low-life the game. Now you're probably like, cool. This means we're getting closer to Path of Exile passive tree and increased build variety, right?
I think we're getting to Diablo 3.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of good things of going like closer to Diablo 3, but there's also a lot of bad things, like hitting for trillions of damage. Like the Sorcerer is doing this on a live game right now. Trillions of damage. And the damage only goes up.
We're now getting a cap of 5 boards LMAO. And with more Paragon points, it basically means that you're just completely filling up the 5 boards you have for 0 build variety.
But the thing is, this is good for the newbie gamers, right? Like Paragaming would say. Like for all the like beginning players and the very like casual players that only have like, you know, an hour a week to play. For them, it's very good because like they can finish their character without having to farm like 200 or 250 Paragons. But yeah, like if you are like playing the game like a decent amount, then like you just don't have any choice. Like you always have the same boards, you just populate every node, and in the end it's a +5 main stat grind.
Not exactly what we were requesting from Diablo 4, is it? So why did this happen? Well, here it gets real interesting, because as I mentioned, the stat squish massively failed. And that has a lot to do with how insanely broken the new glyphs are. Not only are you getting the regular
I think that's an
bonus,
easy fix though.
but you're gaining an additional 20
I agree with him, like the glyphs are too powerful, but they can just tune down the glyph numbers.
to 40% increased damage as it becomes a legendary
And I mean,
glyph
he's also playing Rogue, right? On Rogue, like every glyph is like completely insane in comparison to other classes. So yeah, this is crazy.
on top of receiving a larger radius. And now, I ask you, my beautiful viewer, what do you think would have happened if we were not getting a cap of 5 boards with these new changes? Pause and think about it. Yes, Mr. German Guy and the rest of my friends, that is indeed correct. Probably. Here are my thoughts.
What?
1. The stat squish would fail even harder. Some builds would triple or quadruple their damage. 2. The build variety would get
Well, I think with this, they can easily revert the main stat. Like, they basically doubled the main stat, and they doubled the effectiveness of the main stat.
screwed over
That's an
even
easy
more.
change.
Why? With 100 additional points, you would be able to grab all boards, and the builds that can utilize a larger amount of legendary nodes, for example, non-physical rogue builds compared to physical, would automatically deal double the damage. 3rd, maxing out your Paragon points is estimated to take over 100 hours for the average newbie dad gamers,
Yes.
meaning there's not a chance in hell any casual gamers would be able to reach difficult content unless made easy.
Yeah, but I mean, are they supposed to reach like the hardest difficulty, right? Like if you only have like 1 or 2 hours a week to play, should you be able to do pit 100? Or the hardest pit, the hardest endgame that there is? And in my opinion, the answer is no, you should not be able to do the hardest content, the most difficult, the most challenging content. Like if you only have a few hours to play a week, the answer is probably no. Like you should definitely be able to do, like the story and everything. But the highest pit clears, like pit 200, like should not be achievable if you only put in like, an hour a week.
There are probably more, but I'm 12 beers in and can't think of more currently. In any way, let's just say Blizz are currently so hard stuck at 5 boards that not even stepdad can pull them out. And solution? Well, honestly, just hard
Bro.
at 5 boards that not even stepdad can pull them out. And solution? Well, honestly, just hard gut all the legendary glyph bonuses. I don't understand why
piercing.
we are getting this massive of a damage
Is that another
bonus
pun
just
to
from
the German
mindlessly
guys?
grinding the pit. Now I also have a few more
You should get one.
complaints about the Paragons, because being honest here, They were the only change in Season 6 that actually hard disappointed me. For starters, the legendary bonuses are boring. It's just a flat damage increase. Sure, it gives us a reason to grind the game, but in an ARPG, most people are excited about achieving and collecting great gear, not.
I think it like disincentivizes you to grind the game, because like once you're Paragon 200, like what's the point of going higher? Like you basically get +5 main stat, like in Diablo 3.
Convoluted systems. The main focus.
But I also don't know what the ideal solution is here, because for a casual player, it's still good, right? Like they can finish the character with 5 glyphs. They can finish it. Like level 150, they're done. They don't have to grind to level 200, 250, 300. But there needs to be like a good middle ground, I feel.
Should always
maybe like
be on
6
the gear.
boards.
It's also problematic, seeing as all of these bonuses are multiplicative.
But 5 boards, I feel, is like too limiting for players.
And incredibly difficult to control from a balanced standpoint. Secondly, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at now in the Paragons. There are weird-looking squares around the nodes, making it difficult to see what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And third,
I for one, I also don't like this redesign that they did. I think it gets way more complicated to figure out like what exactly is in range and stuff. Like if I go in the game right now, I think the current system is just better. Like it's more visually clear. I have the game in German right now. Just embracing the meme fully. Warteschlange ist ausstehend. But I feel like right now it's much more clear in comparison to the new stuff, right? Like if I open my, or if you open the Paragon board in a live game, like this is exactly the note you was at. Like now it's clean, it's clear. And this is how it looks after the update.
Going on.
Yeah, and there's like circles everywhere, and I'm not... This is like where you could spec, but where you actually haven't specced. I think the old system, or the current system, just makes it look way cleaner. He's right about that.
And third, this is a great point from the bald hoodie man. But when you manage to upgrade your glyphs to legendary,
Rex is not bald.
Happens. No animation and no birthday celebration.
We've seen his
Just
hair.
a color change. Fun.
Bald hoodie man.
Oh, and we still can't sort or search for glyphs. I've been purposely only been leveling up the least amount of glyphs possible all the way since Season 0, because ICBA going through every fucking glyph in my inventory finding what I need. Okay, so these two factors are what I believe are the most important currently to make the game great.
Good points.
Let's go through and rapid fire some things that I don't give as much of a shit of, but still sucks a hairy ballsack. For
That's some good
starters,
feedback.
everything you collect each season, all the gear and Ubers, is complete dog shit. The second a new season drops. This has been happening since the new itemization.
But this is like, this is what happens usually,
changes.
right? This is usually what happens with, I think, every expansion that Blizzard has ever done. You get a new expansion, usually like your max level goes up by 10, your items get more powerful, everything gets more powerful, and your old items and your old like character levels become kind of useless. I know a lot of people, especially on the Eternal Realm, don't like it, but I think that's how it always has been, no?
Came about. Every item goes to Legacy, and for some reason,
I think it's
Blizz
fine.
is unable to correctly update the items. For example, in Season 5, the Uber aspects got updated, but the stats was not able to get updated. This means that each time a new season drops, all the Eternal gamers get screwed over. Why is it so difficult to correctly update the item?
I mean, yeah, they could update the old items to the new system, but I think that's going to be pretty tough in the code.
Imagine being a dad gamer with 9 jobs and 28,000 children having their new Uber unique taken away from them.
Oh, and 5 wives.
The start of a new season.
Yeah, I can see that angle. Like, if they could update it, I think they would have done it. But maybe they just can't. Like, not easily, at least.
The new rune words are, well, a bit of a joke. They are currently in a weird spot where they're only utilized for the damage, and every build is running Petrify and Warcry. And what's the solution?
Yeah, but this is just a
here?
balancing.
Well, I don't think that rune words that just flat out boosts everyone's damage should even exist. For them to be interesting, there has to exist a choice.
Yeah, I think the system itself is fine, and I think it's not that hard to rebalance it, right? Like the Warcry and Petrify were like obviously overpowered. Like even we knew this even when the patch note came out that these were going to be insane, because like there's some things here. Look, this one here revokes or evoke the Druid's Bulwark, costs 800 offering, and the Petrify, which is the ultimate, it only costs 500. Like duh, yes, everybody's going to take Petrify. I don't even know how they came up with this.
There is one choice currently, I guess, and that's do more damage or simply do less, as these runes are competing with main stat gems. But if the choice was between main stat games and an utility or damage reduction rune word, then there exists an actual choice. I reckon the two strongest rune words are getting gutted after the PTR though, so we may actually have to utilize our brain then. Next, we have no search function for tempering manuals, yikers. And Giga Yikers in Season 6.
There's a lot of quality of life they could add.
We're getting a gazillion new tempering manuals, and the enchanting guy. Holy smokes, do I want to dropkick this guy in the balls. I hate him. Having a massive RNG tied to pressing a button and hoping for the...
I mean, the worst is on the amulets, dude. Have you ever tried on a rogue here getting like a triple passive amulet? Yeah, I also want to kick this guy.
Best. Reminds me of something else. Anyways, why is this guy still atrocious to use? The solution is there, and we've already done it in the tempering manuals. Simply grab a few different categories, and you're done. Take the amulet, for example, one for skill ranks, one for defensives,
that'd be cool, actually.
And one for offensives. No waiting, and you're done. 10 to a maximum of 20 or so rerolls.
Especially like on the amulet, like who wants additive damage on the amulet? Who wants life per second or, God forbid, life per hit on the amulet? Like, come on, man.
Good roll instead of 300 should be fair. If the system
there's also some stats that are just clutter here that you don't need.
Actually interesting, then sure, it could be tied to more RNG, but as it currently stands, it just feels awful to use, and has always felt awful. Just looking at this guy makes me want to punch a hole in my monitor. So let...
Yo, another happy customer? Fuck you.
This feels awful to use, and has always felt awful. Just looking at this guy makes me want to punch a hole in my monitor. So let's take a rant break and go through some good changes, shall we? Ultimates now being useful.
Yeah, it's rigged against you, man. The passives are weighted like against you.
Other than for utility, a great change.
Happy customer.
And in case you're new, you can now gather more skill points into ultimates, for example, via Shaco. This means a reduced cooldown, and taking a rogue as an example, the ultimate is spammable. I think this is great fun and ups the build variety massively. I would go one step further though for some classes, and why is that? Well, rogues has exposure, and they have preparation, granting them an easy way of resetting the ultimate. Barb has the shouts, which is decent enough. Cringe Lord can reset the blood wave, and so forth.
Fatty met
But if we came to a point in which all classes and ultimates could be resettable and useful, then I would be one happy man or woman. Next up is the progression. This is a double-edged sword because how fun it was leveling up in Season 6. Contrary to the...
I think this is also easy to fix though, like all these things, like I think the new system is good, it just needs some tuning.
Bold hoodie.
Especially like Pentient. Bold hoodie.
Man and some of the other pumpers out there, I think that the progression is in an excellent spot. We have 4 leveling tiers and 4 endgame tiers. As long as you're not playing the absolute best build in the game, steamrolling all content, then you're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
But there are 2 problems here. First, we can't choose all tiers. Why? Stop cucking us, Blizz. If I want to jump into Penitent at level 1 and get bumfucked by demons, then let me. I
Let him
remember
get
back
F'd.
during my D, 3 times me and my buddies used to hop into hardcore and the hardest difficulty allowed.
T6
The one to
hardcore.
die first got a massive cucumber shoved down their throat. And that's probably why you're seeing Wadijo eat a cucumber in all of his streams. Without difficulty, he would have
No
been
one's safe from
severely
this guy.
dehydrated. Difficulty saves lives. And also, leveling feels real good right now. There are so many things to do. Strongholds, nightmare dungeons, hell tides, infernal hordes. You're getting loot,
I actually kind of like this stronghold meta, like leveling the strongholds and having them as a kind of like one-time reward, similar to the Ancients quest in Diablo 2, is really interesting because right now no one does strongholds, right? But with the way it works on Season 6, I think that's a very good change, as long as they can keep it in check so you can only complete one stronghold, like on one character, and don't multi-complete it by abusing some group mechanics. But I think it's a good thing, like leveling and exploring the areas and the strongholds, unlocking the waypoints is pretty cool.
Nightmare dungeons, hell tides, infernal hordes. You're getting loot, leveling up, and having a great time. For like 2 hours, because then you're done. I'd understand making leveling quick in Season 0 when it sucked balls, and you ran the same dungeon for 80 hours. But now it's just way too fast, man.
I also agree with that.
Slow me down. I want to enjoy the ride. Especially in Season 6, when I have the campaign and a new zone to explore.
But for many,
boost the experience each.
I understand that, but for many, the game just starts in the end game, right? Like the 1 to 60 or 1 to end game is kind of whatever. Like you just suffer through it. For a lot of people, suffer. And some people enjoy it a lot. Some people don't. So it's kind of hard to strike a balance. But I think 2 hours is too fast. It should take like 5 hours or something. 2 hours to max level is just these 3.
Season, as people are getting sick of leveling. It's also the only time in the game in which I'm actually playing with my...
He gives some good feedback in a very comedian way, and that's pretty unique, so I like it a lot.
buddies, as their dogshit newbies.
Makes it very entertaining.
And once the leveling is complete, they're off to World of Warcraft or whatever. On another note, some great...
Whenever I see somebody in my friend is, this guy's playing World of Warcraft, right-click, remove friend.
Pointers from the bald hoodie man, and that's the character creation screen. Lots of good changes here, more customization, etc. But it's been a few hours and I already miss my campfire. It's iconic. Yep. Imagine calling the campfire dev chat bald fatwood chopper chat. It just doesn't add up. For another good thing, the PTR testing environment was great. We got pretty much everything we needed with one exception.
They improved a lot.
Ancestral items. But that's also when I found out about how dogshit the itemization changes were. Because it was impossible to get some ancestral items.
Yeah, I get that. Like a casual player, like it's gonna take them longer than a couple hours, like, right? Like maybe it's like 5 hours for like a very casual player. But even that is still very fast.
To temper and masterwork, especially uniques. I sat for hours at the Obol Guy, trying to get some ancestrals, crying, questioning my life choices. The quality of life updates are also goated.
Again, 4 hours just to get one greater affix from Malavis.
But has a few minor issues. For starters, though, one without issues is that you're now able to favorite a town. Nice. You get more inventory spaces. Funnily enough, though, I don't think that this is going to be enough.
Nah, we need more stash space, we need more inventory space, and we need more character slots. They only given us one, guys. One extra tab. One extra character slot. I can't even make a male and a female Spiritborn.
We have rune words taking up the entire space, and we're also going to get screwed by all the infernal horde compasses in Season 6, which didn't exist on the PTR. Solution? Well, just let us salvage them and get full material refund. Easy peasy, and a huge quality of life update. The legendary runes could then be the only part that are not salvageable, as they're both rare and will be an interesting item to trade. Now to finalize this epic video,
and you can craft Uber Uniques with the runes.
I have a few requests for the future of D4 that would simply make the game way better. You've heard some of these before, and some are in fact coming, but we're not sure when. So let's rapid fire that shit.
Armory.
An armory.
Yes.
We are going to have 6 or so different endgame options in Season 6, a lot of them requiring different builds and gear. Having an armory is now a must, as to not spend half or our time gaming resetting our paragons. A loot filter, especially if we're going to keep the fact that 99% of gear...
But they still say they are not working on loot filter because they want to fix itemization. I think like they tried, and they did kind of fix itemization in a good way, like they made it way better. But people still want the loot filter because there is still too much loot.
That is non-ancestral gear is going to be trash. I'm getting angry just thinking about all the gear that I'll have to salvage, an API for importing our builds and gear. What do I mean by that? Well, in last
That would be
Epic, for
pretty
example,
cool.
you're allowed to just copy over your entire character to the max roll or last Epic Tools planner. You can then chill in the planner, look for different upgrades.
We actually had this in Diablo 3. In Diablo 3, we could upload it into like a Diablo 3 planner and just upload your profile and get all your gear. And then you can see like, you know, is it better to get like 5 crit chance or 50 crit damage? That was so good.
You can use and optimize your gear. It would also save me a lot of time making builds El Mao. Stop listening to brain-dead people as you're making balance changes.
This is the picture, guys. Barbarian is now 21 tiers below. Even if they reverted all the Barbarian nerfs they've did, we would still be weaker than the Sorc. It is crazy. And I get it, the Barbarian has been very strong for very long, but that doesn't mean it has to be absolutely dog for the next half year. I think that's the wrong approach to balance. I think every class, it's never going to be perfect, but every class should be somewhere around the same ballpark, yes? Like no class would be like literally 20 times stronger, which is the Sorcerer's example here, compared to Bob. And Sorcerer is even like 5 times stronger than like Druid as well, for example. It's ridiculous.
The most prevalent being the changes to Barbarian. The entire class is just god-awful now.
You serious?
You serious?
In Season 5, and it's looking to be the same heading into Season 6.
Stop it about the
And for
swords.
anyone saying that it's not, the class is literally 10 to 20 pit tiers below the other classes, so one more word from you, and I'm bringing forth the cucumber.
Again, cucumber. This is not an opinion. We are looking at the data. The data does not lie. Like the highest Barbarian clear is 144 and the highest Sorc clear is 165. And I'm not saying nerf the Sorc. I'm saying revert all the Giga Barbarian nerfs. And also like the Necromancer, for example, they should have never nerfed the pets in the first place. The pets were so much fun. But now we only have Boner Spirit.
So what is the solution? Well, why not just add a leaderboard for the pit? You then see what is overtuned and can make changes accordingly. I'm sure Blizz has some internal way of looking this up, but without having any meaningful feedback from the player base, as we have no clue what the hell is going on. The best we currently have is the D4 Pit website. And the
It's a
people
great
linking
website. I'm going to link that
videos
below.
in the German guys chat.
And our tier list. Hey, what exactly did you say about the videos? So guys, the leaderboard website. I'm gonna link this here. And I also always collect like a bunch of videos. Oh my god, we deactivated this. We have like all the PTR clears in here as well. I'm gonna also link that below if you want to see that.
Site. And the people linking videos in the German guys chat. And hey, if we're not getting a leaderboard, how about not listening to the 2 brain cell incels on Reddit and rather show that you're actively taking feedback
Don't listen
from
to
the
Reddit.
likes of the German guy for Barb and Lurkin for Sorc as an example. We need some solid feedback system in
That's
place
right.
because the Season 5 changes to Barb was the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time.
The core skills on Barb, dude. The core skills, like they're supposed to be like the mighty main primary attacks, and they're all dog. Whirlwind has never been the DPS option since it's been nerfed 1 week into the season. All Whirlwind does is enable twisters. Rend is weaker than Flay. Hoda has been gutted. Upheaval has never been a meta skill. And Dust Devil, double swing similar to Whirlwind, is just there to spawn Dust Devils. They could like triple the core skills and it would still be much worse than Sorc.
I also believe that there is going to be some comments requesting an auction house. But I also want to give another viewpoint here. Currently, trading is a bit of a hassle. And when I've made videos in trading guides, the majority of people are just simply not trading. So,
Yeah, it's too
is that a
troublesome.
good or bad thing? Well, I'd say it's mainly a good thing, because trading is not gameplay. Sure, it grants you a purpose.
I think making an SSF mode would be kind of cool, and then having like the people that want to trade, and people that don't want to trade like play SSF, or they do something like in Last Epoch as well, because they're like a very innovative system where when you are playing solo self-found, or like when you're playing alone, you have a higher chance, when you're playing no trade, you have a higher like chance of getting items. You have higher magic find or something, right? And if you're playing trade, then you don't have that. So you have like, but you have an advantage of like, you know, you can like gather up your items and trade them versus others. So that was pretty cool.
All the items you don't need, but for the casual dad gamers that just want to blast shit, for them it's an extremely mid feature. I think that trading is in a decent spot.
Yeah, but those people would love some extra magic fund. Like they don't care about trading, they don't want to trade, so just give them like, I don't know, 20% extra chance of magic fund as long as they don't trade.
Right now,
That'd be cool.
we have Crimson Market evolving, now allowing you to list items within the game, for example, but it requires effort, so most people are not doing it. And that's fine.
Anything
Because
that
once you're
requires
stuck
effort.
playing the auction house, the game turns to shit. I've done it in other games, and my sanity took a toll. But on the other hand, though, you could say that you're just restricting the player base. So either way, I don't really give a shit what they do here. Alright folks, that's all for this one. There are a buttload of additional changes
Great
coming
video,
in
man.
Season 6, but I don't really care about them enough to cover. I'm going to end this video on a light note, however, because else I'll never get invited by Blizz to their events.
Always go positive.
Season 6 is going to be a whole lot of fun. If anything is to be prioritized, then remove the ancestral item temper and masterworking changes.
The
It's
Spirit
going
Born
to
will be
ruin
nuts.
the game. Thank you, and see you in the next one.
And we get the scroll of unbricking that you can at least use to unbrick your item once. Yo, great video here, guys. This is from Paragon. I'll link this here in the chat. Give him a like, give him a sub. Great guy, man. He always conveys these information in a in a funny way. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Good video, good points. I don't see it quite as grim as he does on some points. Like, I mean, I stated it, right? And I think most of these issues were valid, though. But most of these issues are pretty comfortable and not that hard to get fixed, in my opinion. For example, on the itemization with the ancestral drop rates and with the difference between 750 and 800 gear and stuff like that. And also with the tempering. Like, maybe they can allow us to use the scroll of unbricking multiple times on the same item. We'll see what's gonna happen, guys. But yeah, great video here. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you soon. GG. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.